Okay, so I'm not going to go over how I constructed this because there is going to be a link at the bottom for that particular portion. This is more dealing with the plucking and curl diffusion aspect. So I have some slanted Mr. Tweezers, and we're gonna just go around to get this line out. This is a frontal that had no plucking. It was not pre-plucked. For all of you guys who don't know how to do this, I'm here to show you. It's very simple. You could use, if you're starting out doing this, I would suggest you use these and not the pointed ones. The pointed ones can, if you don't know what you're doing, they can puncture the lace, which is going to make the situation even worse. But as you can see there, I'm trying to take out this very obvious line around here in the front. And the reason why you want to do this is because no one's hairline looks like this. I mean, unless, you know, Teresa from Jersey, but that's about it. So what you want to do is pretty much try to make this as not thin, because you don't want to bald it out. But if you look at your natural hairline, if you have edges, no shade, I'm not judging, I'm just saying everybody isn't so blessed, then you'll notice that it's a little bit more sparse around the hairline than it is in the back of the hairline. Now, I do notice when a lot of people do this, they'll pluck it really good into a certain area, like let's just say to like behind the ear, and then stop. So when their hair is curly or wet, you can see that it gets real dense in the back. So you kind of want to have this same flow so that it all just has this very natural look. So what I like to do is pull where your edges would be. So if you look at your hair where your edges are, I like to pluck away from the rest of the hair for this particular part, just so that we can make sure that everything that's in the front, so if I put any baby hair, if I don't want any baby hair, if I pull it into a ponytail, it does look natural. It does not have this, it's real thin and thick. I see that all the time, especially on Instagram. It's not a good look. Now, I had already bleached the knots on this particular unit, so, well, this frontal, so before I made it, so I didn't have to really worry about all that. I like to bleach my knots first because it usually gives me a better outline, and then bleach them, because what could happen is if you try to bleach them beforehand and you believe, okay, everything is all fine and good, if you try to pluck it beforehand and you think everything is fine, is good, and then you go ahead and bleach all those knots, it could look really bad, and I mean like bald spot bad. So you want to be careful of that. So once you do this, and it's like, let's just say you go ahead and pluck it, and then you look at it and be like, oh, it looks really, really good. Okay, you know you're done. But if you know you got to go back and actually add, like, put more bleach, it might start looking a little baldish, and you want it to look natural, but you don't want it to look like you just made a full circle. So if you're dealing with alopecia or hair loss or anything, you don't want to repeat this on something that's supposed to make it look like you don't have that issue, if that makes any sense. So as you can see here, I'm just really pulling about 3 inches in the front, back, and then just going through, and it's no really rhyme or reason. Now I'm going in with the more of the straighter ones, the sharp ones, and this just is gonna pluck out all of those hairs that are in the front that are just kind of sitting a little too thick for you. I did this unit based on my real hairline, so you have to sometimes look at your own, depending, or if it's your client, look at your client's hairline and try to get it as close as possible, so that when you do lay it down, they don't have this very obvious makeshift hairline, and it looks fake, and it looks augmented, and it looks like they got a hair hat on. That's not the look. So I do a little bit at a time. As you can see, I'm doing one side, and then I'm going to come back and do the other side, and it's just going to give me a guideline to see where I want to go. So you see like how it hooks around for the side, the little side piece here. I want to do that on the exact same side. Sometimes when you do bleach, they don't bleach all the knots, depending on what you do. Sometimes you don't leave it on long enough. It just could be a plethora of things as to the reason as to why. So as you can see, this is the side that has nothing plucked, and this is the side with something plucked, and this is literally like roughly about 15 20 minutes of me just kind of going in and seeing what I want to do. So here I'm just trying to thin this big thick section out, because again, no one's hair but Teresa's looks like this, and you can look at it. Sometimes it's best if you look at it, leave it for a minute, and come back. Because if you do this too long, like anything else that you do for long periods of time, it's going to start to blend together, and you're going to, I've done it before where I've plucked it so much that I'm like, oh God, now I done messed it up. I'd have made it work, but I done messed it up, you know? So here I'm just repeating that same thing. And again, don't get discouraged if it doesn't work out when you first do it, because, or when you first started, you're not really seeing a difference. It's better to do little by little than it would be for you to do it all at once and start pulling really big chunks, because what happens is you can't put it back. Okay, that's the thing. It's one thing when you don't take enough out, but once it's out, girl, it's out. Unless you know how to put these individual hairs back into this lace. Yeah, it's going. A lot of people hit me up and say, "What do you do when you have a frontal and you overplucked it? Like, what do you do?" I said, "Oh, it's simple. Just buy another one, because that's where you at with it. If you do know how to fix it, by all means, do what you got to do. But for me, I usually at that point, because it just looks terrible. It just does. Make some bangs, girl. You know, whatever you got to do in order to make it do what it do, because sometimes that's really what happens. And this is curly hair too, so it's a little bit more on the, when it was plucked into the frontal, you could tell that they use way more hair than they would for your average frontal. And as you can see, I'm going between the two, because I'm like, okay, I want to thin out this side, the sideburn area a little bit more, just so it has more of a natural feel to it. So again, this is not going to be something that you probably get first shot. If you do, congratulations, because I sure in the hell didn't. But it's going to take a little bit of time. But don't girl, it's late. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. Don't get discouraged, because, you know, you're human. This is something that takes skill and it takes a while. So this is all the hair that I went ahead and plucked out. So I'm going to go here, and this is going to show you how I wash my curly hair and how to diffuse it. I get a lot of questions about this when it's curly or wavy hair, and how do I get my hair to still look voluminous and not flat and that whole thing. Also, just a side note too about back to the plucking. If you notice, when I was plucking it out, the ends were white, and that was easier for me to pluck it out, which means the bleach does weaken the hair a little bit more, so it's easier to pluck out. But if you do it beforehand, sometimes you can puncture your lace because you're trying so hard to pluck those, you know, tied hairs out. So here I'm just getting any of the extra hair that I might not have grabbed when I was plucking my frontal. So what I like to do when it comes to especially curly hair, I like to diffuse my curls, because it makes the hair look so much better, and it makes it look more natural. It's not too tight, but it's also not too loose if you do it correctly. A diffuser can be bought at any local beauty supply, whether it be the Hood one, Sally's. They all, for the most part, sell diffusers. And by the way, I did cut my wefts for this too, so just dealing with a little bit of shedding. But this is the Smooth Keratin shampoo that Perfection shampoo that I like to use for Magic Hair Company. This stuff works great on straight hair, but it works like miracles on this, because sometimes what happens is when you have curly hair and you try to wash it, it's not, and you try to like clarify it, it knots up on you, because again, it's locked up. And this is like, it clarifies what I need to do, but it's smooth enough where my hair will not lock up on me. So this is kind of the equivalent to my Tresemme conditioner, but Tresemme's shampoo is not like I wouldn't suggest the shampoo, just the conditioner. So I'm just gonna go through and go ahead and define. I didn't use any curl definer or anything, just because I wanted this look to be, as you can see in the, you know, the end of the review that that was gonna go up right after this, that I wanted it more of a natural look. I didn't want it to look too done up. I just wanted to look like, hey, I have naturally kind of curly hair type of thing. So when it comes down to when you are washing curly hair, always make sure that you are going in a single direction. Now you can see how that frontal girl here giving you chilly realness, Cherokee. So as you can see, it looks very, very, very natural. And you just want to go in one direction when it comes down to curly hair, because you don't want to put all this soap into it and then start mushing it around in a whole bunch of different directions, because it will tangle and you're gonna be very mad, because you're trying to get, you know, whatever it is that you have, either it's just build up from any curl definer, or whatever you was using is in it, is now jacked up the hair or whatever. But you never want to like you would do your natural hair, which is at the root. You don't have any roots in this situation, so there's no need for you to be rubbing back and forth like that, because it's going to confuse the hair, is going to confuse the shampoo, is going to confuse the wig, and then you're going to have a big confusion on your head, and then you're going to be mad and say it was the company, was because you didn't do it. As you notice, I keep going in this one same motion to get all of this shampoo out. I'm not digging, I'm not going up, I'm not doing any of that, because we're gonna do that once we diffuse it. This is not gonna hurt the hair or mess up the pattern of anything by doing this while it's wet. You just don't want to let it dry stretched out like that, because it's going to dry and it's going to just pretty much be in a very long type of situation. That's not really what we're trying to hit right now. Okay, so yeah, we're gonna continue to do this, and as you can see, I'm just trying to make sure I get all of the shampoo out, because I'm going to go ahead and do the conditioner next. Now the conditioner is a little bit different, and you have to be careful with lace anything. So I decided to use both of them, which was the Tresemme conditioner. I don't remember if I showed using the same Magic Hair Company conditioner. I'm not really sure, but I did use this for this hair. But for this particular method that I'm about to use, I used the Tresemme first. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your unit or take your extensions, and you're going to saturate them in as much conditioner as the hair can hold. I know it's seeming a little excessive, but trust me, at the end you'll see why. So what you want to do is you want to go through and get through all this. These pieces that are coming out are pieces that I cut when I put my frontal, when I constructed the wig. So go through and get all the way through. This also helps with any shedding or any additional pieces that you may have cut. As you can see, I did, and you're trying to get them out. This is what you want to do. And then as you can see, the hair is starting to look very, very beautimous as always. And what you want to do is just continue to go through and make it as saturated as you want to. Then what you should do is go ahead and get a plastic bag. Hold on, I'm not ready. There's more. I think this is actually that conditioner. I just didn't show it. So you want to go through and literally, like I said, sop up the hair, because you want to make sure that what you're about to do next. And I like to put with the conditioner, I like to put just a little bit of, like, sop it in conditioner and water too, because when you put it in the microwave, because that's what we're about to do, sometimes I noticed that the hair gets a weird smell when it's not cut with water. Sometimes. So I just tend to do this just out of instinct. So you're going to take your wig, you're going to put it in the plastic bag, and then we're going to pop it in the microwave. So as you see, we're going to take this and we're going to go ahead and we're going to stop this up too as well with conditioner, just in case there's any parts we didn't get, while the hair is going to obviously saturate that, and then with the heat it's going to mesh very well. So you just want to make sure everything is very juicy. Just see, juicy like Biggie. So we're going to put it in our microwave, and we're going to put it in there for about 1 to 2 minutes, but check it periodically, because what you don't want to do what you don't want to do is put too much heat on it, because the lace on your frontal will start to shrink, and that's not what you want to do. So you want to grab this from the very top of where your lace is, and as you can see, everything is all nice and beautimous, all that good stuff. And then you just want to rinse it with extremely cold water. And what this does is it locks in all that moisture. It locks in all of the keratin, all of the moisture that came from the conditioner is going to lock into the hair, so that the hair continues to stay like that after it's dry. It doesn't dry out. So for instance, if you're in the sun, if I'm sitting in the sun and it's just a super stupid hot day here in LA, and the sun is beaming down, burning the F out of me, my hair will be warm, but my hair will not pretty much dry up and start to get tangled. It will be completely fine. So that's why you want to keep curly hair moisturized, because it isn't straight. It doesn't have one direction. And when it doesn't have one direction and you do not moisturize properly and condition your hair properly with a moisturizing conditioner, not Suave, people, not Dollar Suave at least, you want to make sure that when you do run your hands through it, or you do go to detangle it, you don't cause a big matted mess, because that could happen. That's why curly hair is some of the most high maintenance hair that you could ever have, because of that reason. So at this point, I'm just gonna go through and literally scrunch the hair until I can't scrunch it anymore, and there's little to no water coming out, because I want to make sure that while I'm diffusing this, the hair isn't pulling and it's just not sitting there like a long mop while I'm trying to diffuse it. You still want it to have some bounce to it, so then when you scrunch it with the diffuser and you use the cool air, it dries in that state. It doesn't dry in this super long, curly, wavy type. That's not the look we're going for. And I'm only doing this to show you guys, because I literally wore this look wet. So, you know, there you go. And you can take a cotton towel, it's completely fine, and then just literally towel blot it to make sure that you get as much, like I said, as much of the water out as possible, because you don't want this to be a situation where you're doing this forever. So now you see it's giving you some real chilliness around the front, and as you can see, that plucking definitely made a difference in how natural this looks. And for right now, because there's a white mannequin head right there, you know, okay, was a tan mannequin head, looks a little crazy at some angles, but when you have a nude cap on and it's around your edges, it looks very, very, very natural. So then I'm just gonna go ahead and take my Whisper Quiet blow dryer and my diffuser, and it's such a lie. The damn thing is not even Whisper Quiet. It's pretty damn loud. It's not as loud as my my golden hot one, but it's pretty loud. So as you can see, they sent me, it seems as if they sent me like more of a curly frontal, and then sent me more of a loose wave bundles. So as you can see, they don't really blend that well, but I'll show you how to make this make sense. Some of you guys would be like, oh, I don't mind it, but for me, it was very bothersome. So what I did was I took my blow dryer and I put it on cool, and I just pretty much scrunched it up so that it could dry like such. You can put it in there, you can put it around it, but you just don't want to use warm heat. You want to put this on cool, because you want this hair to dry in a very nice, cool fashion. Because what's going to happen is if you use hot or warm, it's going to cause the hair to dry. And if it's purposely causing it to dry, then all of the moisture that is locked in there is going to be dried out while you blow drying it. So when you go back to use it, like wear the hair again, or you have where you're trying to detangle it, all the moisture pretty much is going to be gone. So again, it's a give or take with curly hair. You just want to make sure it's moisturized, people. Moisturize, moisturize, moisturize. I can't say it any other way. I can't say it any other direction. Moisturize. If you don't remember nothing else from this video, moisturize your curly and wavy hair, just to be on the safe side and you don't end up with a big, ugly, matted situation. So as you can see, there are a lot of the hair is expanding and it's getting bigger, and it doesn't just kind of look like a wet mess at this point, you know. And yeah, so as you can see, it's starting to look very, very, like I have some very natural curly hair. This is something that came from my scalp. It doesn't look like a wig. It doesn't look, you know, like a frontal. You want it to look as and most people's hair that I know is curly kind of looks like this. It's not usually one pattern, and if it is one pattern, good luck to them. But most people I know have like bleached or dyed their hair, so it's not all one pattern. So I will leave you guys here for this, and then you guys check out my review for this hair to see how I styled it and how I wore it. I like to do this method as well, which is pin the hair up and then allow it to dry this way. Again, you don't want it to be dragging. You want it to have some type of bounce to it while you dry it and such, because it will stay like that. So I will catch you guys in my next one. Peace.